Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Ben. I'm an amateur radio operator in Central Iowa, general class, and I go by the amateur call sign K0BJJ on the ham bands. I am also a security professional. I've been in private security for the past 14 years. I am currently employed as a security dispatch operator. Today, we're going to be talking about handheld radio basics. A handheld radio, or an HT, is something amateurs and professionals alike use. And I know at least in security, we don't get a lot of training over them. So this video, I'm going to take you through the basic functionality of the radio, what certain knobs and buttons do, and then how to properly speak on it. So if this is why you're here, thank you for watching this video. If you are not here for this reason, please check out one of my many playlists. Alright everyone, back to basics. For today's radio example, we're going to be using an Anytone 878 UV2 Plus, which is this little thing right here. This is a very high-end amateur radio handheld. Runs in, I think I paid right under $400 for this. This is going to be the closest example to your Motorola's that you're using without it actually being a Motorola. I use a Motorola at work. I can tell you for a fact the functionality of this radio versus the Motorola is nearly identical. So this top knob up here, we're going to start with that. This is your power button and your power selector. You're going to turn that. It's going to turn the radio on. Now we're going to wait for the radio to turn on. I'm going to hold the screen up to you and show you a little bit different thing here. This currently has my call sign on it. And there we go. This is set up with a 2-channel. This is a 2 channel monitoring system. So if either one of those channels were to light up or talk or receive right now, I would hear with the traffic on that. That's going to take us to this next little knob right here. This is your channel selector. I'm going to turn this so we're going to be on a frequency that I know will not get used. And I'm going to switch that over to what it says, Newton EMC. Or Newton Emergency. This is a simplex channel for Jasper County, Iowa, that if all repeaters go out, we can talk on. And that's what we're going to be using for our demonstrations and stuff today. Moving on the side here, we have 2 programmable buttons in your push to talk. Your push to talk button, right there, pretty self-explanatory. You depress that, and that's what allows you to transmit. This front panel here is mainly for programming and device settings. Now in security, as a security officer, you're not going to mess with that. Your boss will not want you to mess with that. And if you are being told to mess with that, odds are you're getting in way more in depth than just basics. On the top here is a programmable button. This is typically set as a distress tone or a hot mic distress signal. So if you depress that, what may happen is a tone may go over the channel for everyone to hear. Your radio may go into what is called a hot mic, where you are transmitting without depressing the push to talk. This is typically used in you are getting your butt handed to you situations, life and death, is when you would depress that. That lets everyone on the same frequency know what is going on. Now the duration of that hot mic might be only for a minute, might be only for a few seconds. It may only put a distress tone out. It all depends on the programming your company has set. And I know several companies who actually have that disabled, so it will not function. You need to talk to your supervisors to let you know what your top button is. In slang terms, we call this an OS button, or you get it. Now this antenna, no, is not the stock antenna that came with this radio. This is a Signal Link glow-in-the-dark antenna. Yes, it does actually glow in the dark. I see it every morning when I come home from work because this is my go bag radio. So I actually have this radio with me at all times to and from work. If something were to happen in a vehicle with my amateur license, I can use this to call out in needs of distress that are not life safety. If you want, you get your amateur call license, we'll have a video coming up on that, and we'll get into some nitty-gritty details about what is declared an actual emergency. Also, on these radios, this is a speaker. This top little bar there, right underneath the P1, P2, that is the speaker for the radio. That is not the microphone. The microphone, if you look between the 7 and 8, is that little hole there. That is the microphone for this radio. So if I am not using my remote pack, which we'll break down the remote pack here in a second, I need to talk into that little hole between the 7 and the 8. The volume is coming out of the holes where the P1 and P2 are, below the P1 and P2. Now I also have a lanyard and a clip attached to this radio. This is so no matter what I'm doing, running, jogging, whatever, I have this clipped to a belt loop. This radio falls, it just dangles. I do this with my personal radios. I know you guys don't have a lot of options with that with your professional radios. Now we're going to get to the ham mic. The ham mic, this one's really well labeled. You can see the big right here. That is your speaker. Up in the corner here, up in that little corner, is your microphone. So when you're using one of these, you need to be speaking into that little hole up there. And then on the side is your push to talk button. Also, on the bottom, there's an outlet so where you can plug in an earpiece. An earpiece so that way, if you are in a sensitive area, say you are working in an intelligence type gathering situation. I don't know why you would be doing that in security, but you could be. Or if you work in a casino and it's really loud, or a loud environment, you can plug an earpiece in so that way you can hear the traffic coming across this radio that you wouldn't necessarily be able to with the normal speaker. All right, everyone, next I'm going to teach you the don'ts of using a radio. So these are the things that are going to get you disliked by your coworkers. These are the things that are going to get you not liked by your dispatchers. These are the things you want to avoid. First of all, what we're going to get into is the overmodulation, or the eating of the microphone. And yes, that's exactly how it sounds over the radio. This happens when you take this microphone or this microphone and you hold it about an inch away from your mouth. Not even an inch. When you have it, your basically lips are touching the microphone. This creates a distorted signal on your end and makes you extremely hard to hear. For this next example, I'm going to clip you down here. A lot of you wear your microphones, get this flip back around, up on your shoulders. Nothing wrong with that. I want you to understand though, I do have my radio off for this, by the way. I want you to understand though, when you have them up here, where your microphone is. Your microphone is that little square right there in the corner. So if you have this set up on your shoulder like this, and you depress, and you are not talking like this, and your head wanders, you are no longer talking into that microphone. You are talking way over in the distance, and you are extremely hard to hear. Don't do that. Also, I'm going to take this off. If you do not have one of these nice remote packs, and you are just using the handheld, don't leave this on your hip and depress your push the talk button and think we can understand you. We might hear you, we might hear what's going on around you, but you are going to be extremely hard to hear and understand. Going on that guidelines, if you are in a mobile unit and you have your radio sitting in a cup holder, don't depress the push to talk with your radio in a cup holder and think that we're going to be able to understand you perfectly clear. If you do any of these things, you are probably going to have people asking you to repeat your traffic a lot. And it's extremely frustrating and annoying for your dispatchers and coworkers that are trying to understand you, because we want to understand you and we want to be able to hear your traffic. So don't do those things. With that, I'm also going to take a quick moment, and if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, at 500 subscribers, we are going to give away a Yaesu FT65, also known as the slang term for the Baofeng killer, which is an amateur radio. I've got a Toroid thrown in the box, and I think I'm going to get some FRS radios. I found some nice FRS radios the other day at the store. I think I'm going to pick up, we're going to throw that in there. But at 500 subs, we're doing a giveaway. Don't miss out on that. With that, let's get to the do's, how you should be operating with your radio. All right, now we are on to the do's. This is what I want you to do. Now, first of all, you're going to see I have my remote pack hooked up here. I actually use a remote pack as much as possible, personal and professional use. With my current position, I mainly use a handheld. I just have a handheld, don't have a remote pack hooked up to it. It's no big deal. I'm going to teach you how to use both properly. Now you see where my remote pack's hooked up to you. This is in the middle. This is buttoned onto my button line. Why do I do that? Because no matter where my head wanders, if I keep my shoulders and chest square to wherever I'm talking, that microphone's going with me. Now, you know, head on a swivel, yeah, you can wander here, but your chin is still roughly going to be above that. It's not going to be horrible. If you do use this technique, when you talk, tilt up your microphone. That way, you have that microphone directly under your chin. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but you will be understood and it will be clear. Again, I'm going to suggest if you're using your radio traffic and you're using this configuration, when you move, you don't just move your head, you move the whole center of your body. So, if I'm depressing and I need to look over here, you notice how I'm twisting at the hip. I need to move over here, I'm twisting at the hip. That'll keep that microphone in line. It's 3 to 4 inches away. It'll be the perfect relief. You will be understood. Now, if you're whispering, they might tell you to someone might tell you to speak up. That's a little bit, I mean, that's being nitpicky, but I mean, you're perfect. Now, on the handheld radio. Remember, on this one, our microphone's down here. Find the microphone on your handheld radio to know where you need to be speaking into. What you're going to do is hold it 3 to 4 inches away. A good way to determine a good relief is how far is your pinky away from your chin. You put your pinky on the far side of your radio, that's about the perfect distance. Now, I do have the radio open-faced, so I typically talk like this. That covers my microphone, which is why I use the remote pack. The good proper etiquette would be to have the radio facing out and away from you and talking over that microphone or to the side. So with this Anytone, with the microphone being right here, I have a top grip on this. I depress with my thumb and I'm talking over that. 3 to 4 inches away, talking across the microphone, not directly into it. Again, even if you have it in your hand like this, across the microphone, not directly into it. Now, if you have your hand out here and you talk directly into it, it will be understood, it will be fine. But you need to remember to typically talk across the microphone. If your hand is covering, if I were to transmit like that, my hand is completely covering that microphone. I'm going to be muffled, I'm going to be hard to be understood. So again, know where your microphone is, and you're going to talk across your microphone 3 to 4 inches away from your mouth. That's why down here works. 3 to 4 inches away. Microphone tilted up, you are talking, projecting across the microphone. All right, everyone. I hope you found this video informational. I know there's not a lot of training within the security community. I know I've had one class in 14 years about how to use a radio. So that tells you anything. So if you found this informational and you think your company would benefit from this, please share this with your company leadership. And hopefully we can get some people better understanding the do's and don'ts of the radio and how the radio works in its very basic form. I know there was a bunch of distractions going around with the dogs. They're out here, they're digging a hole over there right now. But please, if you found it informational, like the video, share it to your companies or your friends or your coworkers, to whoever you think would benefit from it. Consider subscribing to the channel. We do a lot of radio stuff on this channel, including HF Parks on the Air, HF Home, Park Hunting. We do a lot with radio here. So, and I hope to have a lot more how-tos in the future. This is kind of I think my third one. So with that, thank you for watching. 7-3. We'll see you next time.